Hello everybody, my name is Rachel and today I'm going to do an on my shelf video. I did a video basically like this a little while ago called 5-word reviews of 8 books, I think, which is basically the same idea, but this time I am not limited to just 5 words to tell you about a book. I was spontaneously tagged to do this by Yamini from The Skeptical Reader, who gave me 8 coordinates for books, which I have pulled off the shelves and I will now show to you. The first one is from Shelf 5, Book 10, and that is Deep Wizardry by Diane Duane. Deep Wizardry is book 2 in the Young Wizard series, which is a series I mentioned recently in the If You Like This tag. I recommend it for people who really enjoy Harry Potter. And the entire series follows 2 friends, Nita and Kit, who discover a book that teach them the basics of wizardry, and then they join the wizarding community. In this book, Nita and Kit are supposed to be on vacation, but they end up helping another wizard, and that wizard happens to be a whale. And I remember really liking this book. I thought that the idea that there were wizards who were whales and other sentient species or alien species was pretty awesome. The next book is from Shelf 2, number 17, and that is Paladin of Souls by Lois Master Bujel, because even through random chance, there must be at least one Bujel book in every video that I make. It's gonna be a thing, guys, I'm sorry. I think this is the most beautiful cover I've ever seen on one of Bujel's books. Most of her books are published by Baen, and I think they have horrible cover designs. Just their whole aesthetic is not my thing. It's so 70s, 80-ish to me. This, however, I think is definitely the most beautiful cover. It's beautifully written, and what I keep coming back to about this particular book that I like so much about it is that the main character is a middle-aged woman. What she wants to do with her life after the events in The Curse of Charing is a lot different from what other people might want for her. Book number 3 is Shelf 7, number 12, and that is The Homeward Bounders by Diana Wynne Jones. For a really long time, this was one of my favorite Diana Wynne Jones books. What I liked about it the most is that it doesn't have a predictable ending. Even though I read it when I was pretty young, I was aware at the time that the ending felt like it was really not stereotypical. It's not the perfect happy ending that you would expect to get from a lot of kids' stories. It was a little bit heartbreaking. It's about a boy named Jamie who discovers a group of powerful people. They're just called them playing, the back says them playing their mysterious games. And they throw him out of his world and he has to keep jumping from one world to another. He's not the only person in this situation. And they're all trying to get back to their original world, but they can't stay in one place for very long. And he's trying to figure out what the rules are and if there's any way for them to get home. I'm gonna have to reread this at some point because I remember it being really good. Next is Shelf 6, book number 3, and that is 84 Charing Cross Road by Helen Hanff. This is the copy that I read when I was a kid and that I bummed off of my parents when they were gonna get rid of it. It's not like exceptionally nice looking, it's really yellow too. I really like the story. This idea of this New York writer sending off to London for, books and becoming friends with the people who live there, and then when she actually goes to London, yeah. Anyway, if you haven't read it, it's it's very, very tiny book, yeah. Next, from Shelf 4, number 15, is Two Rooks, Volume 1 by Alice Fox. This was a webcomic that started online probably back in 2007 or 2008. The print volume of the first part was published in 2009, and as far as I know, a volume 2 was never published. The webcomic is unfinished. I don't even think it's available online anymore. I was really into this. This was one of the first webcomics I discovered that had good art and actually was written pretty well. The art had more of an impact on me than the storytelling, I think. It's basically crime noir, and the story is about this one guy who's running around trying to uncover mysteries and show people what's really going on or something like that. Like I said, I definitely read this more for the art than for being horribly invested in the storyline. The art is really cool because it's all black and white, except it's red for various elements, mainly the main character's hair, but they're also, some people's glasses are red as well. Next is Shelf 1, Book 1. You're not going to be very surprised by this. It's The Goblin Emperor by Catherine Addison. I've read this pretty recently and talked about it relatively recently. I made a review of it, so I will link that somewhere around here. It's a lot of political and court intrigue, slow moving, but really about the main character attempting to remain himself and remain what he thinks is just and moral and ethical, in spite of what people are trying to get him to do. This is still probably my favorite book of the year. It might be tied with Anathem by Neil Stephenson, but I really, really love this book. The penultimate book is from Shelf 3, Book 9, and that is Graceling by Kristen Cashore. I read this book a long time ago, and forgive me if I can't tell you anything about it, except that the main character's name is Katsa. She lives in a world where some people have magical talents called graces, and her particular grace is being really good at fighting. She's really good at killing people, and her uncle, the king, uses her for her ability. There's a lot of political stuff going on. There's stuff going on with people's graces, and a king in the neighboring kingdom who's threatening theirs because he has a really, really nasty grace. I think that's what this one is about. I loved this book so much when I read it, and I read the last book in the series, the last one so far, Bitter Blue, last year, I think, and I also really liked it. Has anybody else read these books? I would kind of like to reread Fire and Graceling because it's been a long time and I know I loved them so much at the time. And the last book I have to show you is from Shelf 2, Book 1, and that is I Am Half Sick of Shadows by Alan Bradley, the fourth book in the Flavia de Luce mystery series. What I particularly like about this one is, okay, it has the Christmas winter setting, which makes it like a really good book to read around Christmas. I don't have a lot of books like that, but there's so much of Dogger and Flavia together in this book. They're all basically snowed into Buckshaw Mansion, and I love Dogger. My favorite relationship in the series is between Flavia and Dogger, and this is probably the book for that. Those are all the books I have to talk about in this video. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing some of the books just randomly pulled off of my shelves. I would really like to do more of these in the future, and hopefully you guys don't mind watching them in the future. If you want to leave me any random numbers, please do. You can put them in the comments down below or tweet them at me. I'm also going to leave some random numbers in the description box below for anybody who wants to do an On My Shelf video. Feel free to use those numbers and let me know if you do. I would love to watch your video. And that is it for me. I will talk to you guys again later. Bye.